Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. To the first impression on the Type 1936A MOB, the Z32, aka the Narvik Zerstörer. It is equipped with the biggest guns for any given destroyer as of this point throughout any nation. And that really is resulting in the highest battle rating for any destroyer with a battle rating of 4.7. In fact, that means the following, and it shows perfectly what is wrong with War Thunder. In theory, and also in practice, this destroyer with cruiser type guns can face, in fact, the British Clemson L45, the HMS Churchill, 3.7, which is surprisingly bad for a destroyer. It is a meme by itself, totally underpowered, totally failing at the meta, slow, just a single very bad 4-inch gun, and it can fight this beast of a destroyer. And you can be sure that this will make mincemeat out of the HMS Churchill. On the other hand, very often a lot of the people are rushing through War Thunder and through Ship RP to get obviously their hands on the desired top tier cruisers, and so with a battle rating of 4.7 you can meet the USS Brooklyn CL-40 and be sure that you will face it very often. And versus a proper light cruiser, probably the very best when it comes to DPM and damage dealing, you have no business. Including the still failed map design, we already see massive failure at balance, at fairness, at player retention when it comes to the USS Brooklyn. In the patches before it were the German cruisers, and now it's the American cruiser. But I have some very spectacular scenes in this ship and one gameplay that I wanted to share with you. And so let's go right into the gameplay and let's see what is what. Let's begin with the bad aspect of the ship, and that is that it is a destroyer thrown into the cruiser meta. Those are the very first seconds of the gameplay. You can count the seconds before I get destroyed. I cannot even complete the first turn to get my torpedoes off and try to hide behind the island. And yeah, the first salvo takes out half my propulsion. So yeah, I'm dead. There is nothing that I could do. There is nothing that I can... I don't know what should I do. This is just left to die. It's down to RNG. Get you up tiered? Get you down tiered. Will you seal club? Do you get seal club? Your own skill? Completely irrelevant. This is a very toxic environment. This is very, in fact, I think deliberately bad game design. This is meant to frustrate players, and I have no idea why. This 3D model that Gaijin has probably spent quite a little bit of money on to create, yeah, it's for nothing in this case. Look at the repair times. I don't have 150 seconds for my repair. I cannot extinguish fire and stop flooding, and now 300 seconds of repair. My crew is down to... is it 7% already? Oh boy, do I have fun. And now, the grande finale. I'm dead. I'm dead. I'm destroyed by a cruiser. Battle time 1 minute 34 seconds. Is this fun? This is the status that we see of Ship RP for quite some time, and nothing has been done about it. This destroys so many ships in the game. This destroys or makes the ships completely irrelevant to play, and just the top dog is deciding, or the top class. Gaijin, please do something about it. This is very bad. There is no way that you can get away from the enemies right from the start on multiple maps. This is extremely bad game design. Let's have a look at another scene that is more ship specific. So I was very passive the entire game. I played already for like 15 minutes and I didn't get shot once. Look at the left bottom corner. My ship is completely undamaged. And yeah, now I realize that somebody's shooting me. In fact, two people that have just appeared around the island. The shell is coming in around about now, and yeah, that is the only salvo that I get off. And that's the first hit from a Russian destroyer directly on my ammo rack, and I exploded. Ammunition load exploded because the ammo rack is so massive, so big, so long, right at the waterline with no ammo. Let's have a look at this scene, which shows complete RNG, which is another thing that is not really ship specific, but happened to me quite a lot. So again, we just spawned, we get the first salvos off, and I focus here another American cruiser. I think it's a Trenton, if I'm not completely mistaken, and I'm very lucky that I get not solely focused down, that some ships spawned around me. I use here my teammates as meat shield. There is nothing else that I can do. I frantically try to get here into cover, and I'm very lucky that I get some really good hits in. So you can punish enemy cruisers a lot. You can really damage them as well with your base fuse HE, and we take massive chunks out of him. But that's not really the point that I want to make. So we get him down to 30% of crew already. I'm very lucky that I got out of this situation. We get some more hits in, and now between the hits something begins to happen. There you can see what, how, what did I do? He ticked down very fast, and I have absolutely no idea what happened there. But this happened to me with shooting at some other ships. It happened to me as well. There seems to be some escalating damage mechanic after you get a hit, and then it seems like the fire spreads and the enemy ship just burns down very quickly within seconds, but not with the single shell hits, not with hitting the torpedo tubes, not with hitting the ammo racks. That is a very strange game mechanic that's currently broken on, that I encountered as well with the cruisers, with some other destroyers, and if you know the explanation, I guess it's a bug. There is no other explanation at the moment for me. Let's have a look at the positive aspects of the ship, and those are obviously the guns. 150mm guns taken from the KMS Emden. They are at least the same type, and oh crap, there are two destroyers. I have to deal with them rather quickly. After the first salvo, which is very damaging to this German destroyer, we absolutely wreck the bow. I switch target now to this American destroyer, and this American destroyer will quickly realize what base fuse HE does to his ship. First shell just splashes a little bit, but takes out a quarter of his crew, and the next salvo is aimed very well, and a massive chunk to the propulsion system, and again to the crew. We aim a bit more careful here to the ammo rack, and we get it. Base fuse HE versus American destroyers is highly devastating, because all that the anti-fragmentation armor does to those base fuse HE shells is guaranteeing you igniting it, and then it deals maximum damage. But also versus normal destroyers it is very good. But don't just cry out in pain because you have to research it. It's a tier 1 module, and it is not really necessary. In my opinion, I think that versus normal destroyers, the normal HE is more than good enough. But what you have realized is that I was not shot. The following scene is actually hilarious. So first of all, I tried to dump here my torpedoes into the water. I tried to get away here from the one cruiser to my right. Then I get jumped here by the HMS Enterprise, and that is a British light cruiser. We shoot at him with base fuse HE. He shoots at us. He actually whiffed the first salvo. Now half my propulsion is taken out. My crew has taken extensive losses. I tried to take out here some of the enemy's guns, but yeah, I aimed poorly. Another salvo coming in. My helm is down. I don't have 49 seconds of repair. I take here a lot of damage, but I also dish it out. Remember, best destroyer versus average cruiser, and then, oh yes, we destroy him. And watch this. Watch Gaijin's generosity in Ship RB. For destroying a light cruiser, we get 50, count them, 50 civil lines. No experience, no progress allowed. Let's enjoy the sight for a few more seconds. Yeah, I got nothing. Thank you, Gaijin. So now let's have a look at the final gameplay, which will occupy the rest of the time of the video. And I want to show you how I played it, what the ship can do in a normal battle from the very start to the very finish, when you don't have to encounter cruisers, when in fact you are the top tier destroyer and all that you have to fear are the guns of enemy destroyers. I was not quite sure if I in fact have here an up tier or a down tier. Now I realize it. Okay, what should I do? How should I play? Should I really stay at range, but then I cannot really fulfill the objective, which is to gun down here enemy merchant ships and the enemy AI destroyers and cruisers, because this is now Norway, the encounter mode. In general, I think it's a good idea. It's just, again, not executed perfectly. And I tried to get here into cover. I was really not sure whether I should close the distance to effectively make every shell count, or to stay at range to reduce the incoming damage. As it points out, as it stands and as it will work out, it's kind of an intermediate. Again, the ship is effective up to 10 kilometers. After that, the range bug will kick in for AI units and also players, so it only will aim correctly, not shoot correctly, aim correctly at a distance of 10 kilometers and below, which is, yeah, again, nobody at Gaijin has checked their own game. It's full of bugs, full of things that shouldn't be a problem but are, that shouldn't be a problem if somebody would have checked it out. It is how it is. I'm sad that it is that way. We have to deal with it. And now I want to use here the island cover, the cover from the rest of the enemy team, and I want to gun down the enemy ships one by one. And there is our first candidate. I wait up until I bring all 5 guns to bear. First salvo is out. The dispersion looks good. This is what you can expect. It is then down to your own skill to make as many hits count as possible. He slows down after we take out his propulsion. One single hit destroys the entirety of the bow, and he's already to half crew. Next salvos go out and do further damage, but I already took quite a beating and I lost my helm. Gladly I stopped before that, and now the enemy destroyer does me a massive favor by switching fire to the enemy, to my allied Z20 Kalgaster, and I can happily take him down. I'm so sure about this salvo finishing him off that I do not really bother aiming for the second one properly. This was in fact the first strike on a Leningrad. There is another destroyer and we aim carefully. First salvo's dispersion looks good. Doesn't really hit that hard, just take out a quarter of the enemy's crew. And next salvo goes in, deals massive damage, and in fact it is an ammunition explosion. So now let's talk about my personal ammunition choice for this destroyer and also for the rest of the German destroyer line, since all the armor-piercing shots have been removed for the 105mm and the 128mm destroyer guns for the Germans. And I think I personally would use now 2/3 of base use HE whenever possible, and a third of normal stock HE, because the base use HE is very good versus enemy cruisers and American destroyers and big destroyers with their anti-fragmentation armor in general. It also penetrates deeper and has a higher chance of igniting ammo racks, but versus, I'd say, patrol boats and in fact lower battle rating destroyers, the stock HE deals more damage. It seems either that the base use HE is suffering from some sort of over penetration, or there are some other mechanics that I cannot point my finger at the moment. However, I think that versus lower battle rating ships and destroyers, very small destroyers, the stock HE is sufficient if they show broadside. If anybody is going bow in or of a heavier unit with anti-fragmentation armor, then I would use the base use HE. The difference is not massive, but I think from my experience so far that there is a noticeable difference. Also, the stock HE is for free, and yeah, the ammunition cost adds up. Just let's do the math here. Let's go to the ammunition, and it costs 30 civilians per shot. Now 30 civilians per shell, in fact, is not too expensive, but per salvo it is now 150 civilians. So for every 10 salvos it's 1,500 civilians of ammunition costs. With that very limited income overall, despite the premium account, despite winning the games, etc, etc, this adds up. Add this to the overall repair costs of the ship, which is not outstandingly high, but still 5,500 civilians, and you can see that very easy, even in a successful game, your expenses completely eat up the income and you are on a plus minus with a, you know, very successful game. And we destroy another destroyer, 4th kill already. Then there is already the next customer. I accelerate to bring all guns to bear. The firing arcs on the guns are in general pretty good. However, the rearmost mounted gun is not as good as the rest of the guns, so in order to bring maximum firepower to bear on the enemy, you have to give quite a lot of broadside, as you can see here. But when you hit the enemy, even with splashing, you deal significant amounts of damage. And there you can see how good the dispersion is at range. Just my aim is not on point, but I will fix this now with this salvo. Come on. There you can see the flight time, the splash of the shells, or the indicator for that is, in my opinion, helpful again. Good for training. Next salvo is out and we deal massive damage to the front. Now I'm aiming a little bit for the back of the ship. Next salvo is out. Rate of fire for this kind of caliber of guns is good. And it is at this point where then the ship has a little bit of a problem sometimes. We get here, in fact, now our ace, the 5th kill. But very often it is difficult to pinpoint the last compartment of an enemy ship to actually get the kill. You are very good at damage dealing, you are very good at long range engagements and knocking out modules, reducing crew, setting stuff on fire and annoying the hell out of even cruisers. But at finishing stuff, it is not very reliable. But I think a lot of the cruisers and destroyers, with the exclusion of some specialized ships like the USS Brooklyn, like the Kirov, and also some other destroyers where they have just more guns and a higher rate of fire, where then they can get the massive amount of shells out to then eventually hit the last compartment to get the last few percentage of the remaining crew. Other destroyers seem to be a little bit better, but there is just nothing like this destroyer. So I came around the corner and already I see then not just 1 but 2, 3, 4 enemies, and there are now 2 in my sight. In the background you can see the AI units, which are the normal target. And while we deal again a lot of damage here to an enemy destroyer, I try to get behind the island. Now I try to actually stop. As long as nobody's firing at me, I'm not in a hurry to do anything and just gunning the enemy. Let my ships be the shell sponge. This is sadly how you have to play. You have no armor whatsoever, you are fragile, you take massive damage despite your guns. So you are probably a destroyer with cruiser guns amongst destroyers, which gives you advantage, as I now multiple times pointed out. But don't rely on this. Yes, we get now another kill, but now, funnily enough, it is a small destroyer that will finish me off with armor piercing, and that is the T-22. Or is it now the armor piercing? No, it has been removed, right? Am I talking here bollocks? I don't recognize here the shell tracer. Could be now the new base fuse HE for the T-22. Now I try to gun here down this destroyer, and again massive damage. Unlucky that I didn't ignite here the ammunition. I correct my aim here, trying to go for the back and the middle of the ship. Another salvo goes in, deals more damage, but hitting already the saturated compartments. Again, very unlucky that I didn't immediately ignite here with the second salvo the ammunition. But more shells find their way towards the target. I get shot from the rear, but I don't see the target. I want to finish off this guy to secure another kill. to give my front destroyers an advantage. And in fact, he actually recognizes the threat that I pose and now shoots at me. Constantly changing speed and constantly the enemy maneuvering is not that easy to get the guns on target, but eventually I'll hit him and I get another nice kill. That's now 7 kills, and you can see my ammunition is now rather low, but I still have more than enough to probably deal with some more. And in fact, yeah, that's a T-22, green shell tracers, previously indicated armor piercing for German ships. Now it's for the 105mm, in fact the base use HE, and that deals quite a lot of damage. I'm low on crew, long repair time, now the propulsion is fixed, it's been taken out again. I just can't hit the damn thing. Correcting here my aim, I tried to get away from him, so that yeah, screwed up a little bit the aim. Come on, come on. Yes, and there are the first hits. We removed now literally half of the crew with one salvo. Can we finish him off before he finishes me off? I'm at 10% crew if I see it right in the preview window of the editing program. Come on. Oh, that's not good. And my reload is obviously suffering. More hits, 39% crew. It is now down to RNG. I'm burning and I have to repair. And in fact, I was finished off by the Type 1939 T-22. Oof. Okay. So yeah, those have been the first impressions on the Narvik-Zerstörer, the Z32. It's a fun, unique ship. I really like it, and I wanted to see more of this stuff, but it suffers a little bit from the overall compression. Either it is borderline overpowered, or it is nothing but gun food. The map design could be better. Yeah, more balance has to be introduced. Currently, the state of ship RB is appalling. It's bad. It is just done by people that are not playing the game mode, apparently. That's it for me today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please give it a like. Subscribe if you want to see more. And we'll see each other on the battlefields, in the skies, and on the waves of War Thunder.